So good. Good morning, Baltimore. You ever seen Hairspray? That makes sense. It is so good to see you this morning. If you're watching online, good to see you. Whenever you're watching or listening to this, it's good to be in church. Amen? This time last year we weren't. So it's good to be in church. Looking forward to the future and whatever God has for us. I'm talking at the moment with a kind of a stream of messages, and it might take different shapes and different forms. I might come up with different titles, different verses every week, but it basically is the same. It's the same theme, and the theme is just do the right thing. It's not that hard. That is really, I even said this watching TV during the week. I said, watching some kind of soap, I don't know what I even know it was, Emmerdale or Corrie or whatever it was. And I shouted at the screen, just do the right thing. Like, it's not that hard, it really isn't. And so everything I'm talking about these next few weeks, is just, if we can live every day just with that kind of motto, with that theme, with that spirit, with that culture. It's a culture. It's a culture of just doing the right thing. Whatever is right, just do that, because it really isn't that hard. And so everything is coming from that spirit, that culture, that theme. So I want to continue this week, and this is the second week of doing this, on just 8 simple rules with a bit of a difference. Okay? 8 simple rules to make sure you spoil it. Okay, so if you want to make everything a success, then do the opposite of what I'm talking about this morning, all right? But these are 8 simple rules to make sure that you spoil it. And I've got 8 things, but I'm not going to do one thing every week. I did one thing last week, I'll do one thing this week, but then we'll speed things up a little bit. I'll probably do 3 next week and 3 the week after, whatever long it takes. It's not going to take 8 weeks, don't worry. 8 simple rules to make sure you spoil it, whatever it is. Let's go all the way back to Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 31. This is where it all went wrong. This is where it all started. This is where all the wars came from, all the sickness came from, all death came from, all illness came from, all divorce came from. All drug addiction came from, pandemics came from, viruses came from, you name it. You name anything bad, and this is where it all started, okay? It all came from here. And so Genesis chapter 1, verse 31, the New King James, very simple, and this message is very simple. That's why I've called it 8 simple rules. Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. Everybody say very good. Very good. He wasn't just good. After each stage of creation, the Bible says that God saw it was good. And when he finished everything, then God saw that everything that he had made, everything, every plant, every flower, every vegetable, every mountain, every sea, every person, every animal, and he looked at it and he said, this is very good. So that's the beginning of creation. That's how it all started. So I wanted to see how it was possible for Adam and Eve to mess it all up. And that's where this really came from. I wanted to see how Adam and Eve could mess up something so perfect and something so good and something that God called very good. God saw it was very good, and Adam and Eve wrecked it. Completely wrecked it so easily and so simply. Can I just say this morning that whatever we hold, whether it's relationships with family, with friends, with God, is very fragile. You might think this morning that your faith in God is so strong and so secure and so safe, but I've got to tell you something, it's fragile. All it takes is for us to do something simply stupid, and we spoil the relationship we've got with family, with friends, and especially with God. So never think, well, my faith in God and my relationship with God, nothing can shake it, nothing can wreck that. Well, that's what God thought about Adam and Eve. And they wrecked it so easily and so simply. Then I thought about now. I thought about how people are thousands of years later doing exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. We have not learned one lesson from Adam and Eve's messing up of what God called was very good. We haven't learned. But there are people today who are still doing the same thing, still messing up marriages. Something is very good, something that God called us to do, to be married and to be fruitful and to form a relationship with each other, and yet people mess it up so easily. You know, messing up relationships that are so good and so healthy, messing up a friendship that has been, you know, for years and years and years, it has been so good. You know, people messing up their church journey, spoiling their church journey, spoiling where God planted them, spoiling where God blessed them, spoiling where God fed them. And God has fed and blessed people. And with embarrassingly good blessing, planted them in church and just spoiled it. Spoiled something that for years has been very good. But now, you know, people messing up their lives. You know people this morning. You can probably name people. It might be family, it could be friends. You know people this morning who have just messed up their lives. Lives that before were very good. But, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe they began to drink too much. Maybe they began gambling. And before they know where they were, they've got an addiction and they're gambling online and they've gambled the mortgage away, they've gambled the rent away. And by doing something so simple and so easy, they've messed up something that was so strong and so very good. You know people like that this morning? I certainly know people like that this morning. Just messing up lives. Messing up a dream that God gave people. God planted a dream in somebody's life. A good dream, a very good dream that inspired them and that you know, gave them motivation. Maybe it's us this morning. Maybe we've had a dream, and through various things, you know, God gave us. You know, dreams are exciting. We still have a dream for this church. That, you know, COVID didn't kill the dream. COVID didn't kill our dream. We still have a dream for this church. I still pray every day for this church for a venue of our own where we can just do the things that we really want to, because we are restricted this morning. We are very restricted. And that's one of the reasons I prayed that prayer earlier on, because we haven't been able to go to conferences. Where normally we come back and we go, yeah, Yippee, it fires you up. And we haven't had guest speakers. We can't have guest speakers coming in. All what we've got is this on a Sunday morning, and this is it for now. But it's not it forever. We still have a dream, and people still have dreams. But it's amazing how many people had a dream that God gave them, a good dream that's exciting and with purpose, and now the dream has become a nightmare because they've messed up. They've messed up. How can something very good go so very bad? How do you make something good into a mess? 8 simple rules. We're going to look at them this week again and next week again. 8 simple rules to make a mess out of something good. Just follow 8 simple rules. We looked at one last week. Number 1 last week, if you got your notes there, number 1 last week was just lie. Just lie. Just tell lies. Just lie about things. Live a lie. Just tell an incy-wincy little lie. And you watch how that lie messes up something good. Number 2 this week, how to mess up something good. And these are all around what Adam and Eve and people like Jacob and Esau in the Bible, people like David who are all messed up good things, especially Adam and Eve. Number 2, cheat. Cheat. C-H-E-A-T, cheat. Just cheat. Simple, isn't it? These are simple rules. Just cheat. If you're going to mess up a relationship easily, just cheat. If you're going to mess up your business, just cheat. If you want to mess up your relationship with your boss, if you want to spoil something that's very good, if you want to spoil a really good job, just cheat. Guaranteed to mess it up. We are not, how can I put this? We are not card players in our family. We don't play card games. Unlike some of you do. You've got your poker clubs and you've got your, I know that. You're right, gambling addicts. And we don't play cards. But I don't even know where this was, but a few years ago, we were in France. Just being reminded we're in France. And I think it was 4 of us in France, myself and the 3 girls. And we had some time in our hands, and we stayed in a house or an apartment. And the people in the apartment had left some cards behind. Just left some cards behind. And so we thought, let's play a card game. Let's play some card games. And so we got these. I only knew one card game, which I'd learned at school, right? And it was called Cheat. Very simply, we used to play it at school, and it suddenly came to me. I remembered this. I said, because nobody knew any card games. Let's play a card game. Yeah, we don't know any card games. We don't play cards. And so I taught them this game. I remember this game called Cheat. And all it is, very, very simple and very easily, you just share all the cards out between you, keep them to yourself. And the idea of the game, the winner is the one with no cards at the end, right? So the winner is the one with no cards at the end. So what you do is, I taught them to do this, you just cheat. So what you do is you put cards on the table and you say 4 kings, right? And somebody has to call you out and say, cheat. And if there are 4 kings there, they've got to then pick up those 4 cards, and so they get more cards. So you try and give your cards away. 4 kings, 4 aces. And people are shouting, cheat all the time. And sometimes you do cheat. Instead of 4 aces, you put 2 twos, 1 jack, and 1 queen. And you still got 4 aces in your hand, so you can cheat with that later on. The idea is to trick people. Now, I'm going to tell you, now don't judge me, but I won. Which makes me the biggest cheat in the family. Just cheat. I found it very easy to cheat. You can tell from people's expressions on their faces whether they're lying and cheating or not. And I've got to say that I kind of hid mine very well. Some of them, they put down, 4 kings. And like, straight away, busted, cheat. Oh. Because you want 4 kings, so they can't have 4 kings. Do you understand what I mean? It's easy. It's easy to cheat. If you've got a poker face, and if you do it, here's the secret, if you cheat often enough, you become really good at cheating. So people can't tell if you're cheating. The more you cheat, the better you, except God, of course. Because you can't cheat God, or can you? The dictionary says that to cheating is lies in action. So it's giving action to lies. So it's carrying on from last week. Cheating is giving lies action. Just betrayal. When someone betrays a friend, it's not just lying. It's lies in action. Cheating. When relationships break up and husbands, wives, etc., boyfriends, girlfriends cheat. You're not just telling a lie. It's lies in action. Lying on a CV. Exaggerating on a CV, saying you've got this qualification when you haven't got that qualification. It's not just a lie, it's written down, so it's cheating. It's cheating an employer. Exaggerating on tax returns. On expenses forms. Do you ever think about that? It's cheating. It's lies in action. Cheating on relationships and friendships, guaranteed to create hurt. If you want to mess a relationship up, cheat. If you want to mess your job up, cheat. Guaranteed to create hurt. Guaranteed to turn something very good into a mess. Proverbs 11:1 in the Message. Proverbs 11:1 in the Message says, God hates cheating in the marketplace. He loves it when business is above board. There's a good scripture to take with you to work every day. God hates cheating in the marketplace. He loves it when business is above board. God hates cheating. That's really all we need to know. This message can be summed up in 3 words. God hates cheating. Adam and Eve, I was really curious as how you mess up something so perfect as creation. How you mess up something so good that God calls very good. How do you do that? Adam and Eve thought they could cheat God. Because if you go back to Genesis 3 and verse 8, the Bible says, Genesis 3:8, that Adam and Eve heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of God. They thought they could cheat God. They thought they could cheat God. They thought they could deceive God. That's what cheating is. Cheating is deception. They thought they could deceive God. They thought they could elude God. They thought they could swindle God. They thought they could be dishonest with God. They thought they could avoid God. Like people think they can avoid paying taxes nowadays, or avoid paying the full allowance they've got to pay. They thought they could cheat God. God hates cheating. Are you with me? If you go away from this morning remembering one verse, just remember Proverbs 11:1, God hates cheating in every single form. But especially when people try to cheat God. And especially when people try to be dishonest with God. Especially when people think they can deceive Him. A lot of people think, and I've come across people and over the years who think they can avoid God by not coming to church. It's true. It is absolutely true. I've heard people testify that they thought they could avoid God by missing church and by not coming to church. If we think we can avoid God by not coming to church, we deceive ourselves. And what I've found is God can reach us far beyond the walls of the church. Yeah. If we think by not actually being in church that we can avoid God and cheat God somehow and escape God's voice and God's conviction or God's challenge or whatever He wants to do with us, then God can reach us way beyond the walls of these churches. The church without walls. It's wherever we are, God can reach us. Malachi 3, verse 8. We have quoted this verse so many times during giving and during offering times and special offerings and about talking about tithing and finance and giving. And it's a really sad verse because God says in Malachi 3:8, will a man rob God? Will a man rob God? Will a man cheat God? And God says, yeah, you've robbed me. God says, you've robbed me. God says, you've cheated me. God says, you've swindled me. God says, you've been dishonest with me. And Malachi says, this is what people say. God says, well, in what way have we robbed you? How can we possibly rob God? How can we possibly cheat God? When God sees everything and God knows everything, how can we cheat God? The thing is, they knew fine well how to cheat God. And God says, in tithes and offerings. He says, you've cheated me. You've cheated me. How do you mess your finances up? This is not a financial talk, by the way, which is probably just a small part of it. I'm the last one to give a financial talk. But it's true, isn't it? How do you mess your finances up? Easy. Cheat God. It's easy. It's dead easy. God gives us something good. God blesses us with jobs. God blesses us with surprise letters from HMRC through the post with a backdated refund that you didn't think you were going to get. It's thousands and thousands and thousands. Yay! God blesses us. Oh, God blesses us with just every day with His goodness and with finance and with money in our bank accounts and with blessings. He gives us something very good. How many people know it's very good when you get a job and you get paid? Like, come on, all of you, none of you this morning would work if you didn't get paid. I cannot imagine one of you bouncing into your office on a Monday morning, yippee, I'm here, I don't need paying this week. Just don't bother paying me. I'm doing this because I love coming. I love the people. I love the boss. I love spending 8 hours stuck in an office, in a windowless office. I love working. Don't pay me. Don't not you. Come on, talk about cheating. You only go to work because you get paid. Ever thought about who got you the job in the first place? Oh, my massive intelligence got me the job. No. My massive personality. God blesses us with something so good. Something so good. That thing called money. That stuff you can use to buy coffee with. Yeah. And presents. And will a man cheat God? What does the scripture say about God hates cheating? Especially when He's the one being cheated. And I've got to tell you, church, this morning, I know this is a kind of pointed message, but I think sometimes we have to be like this. We've got to be kind of straight with people, not mess around and fiddly messages. There's no blessing in cheating God. There really is no blessing in cheating God in any form at all, because God hates cheating. The blessing is not in cheating God, but there is blessing this morning in honoring God. Come on, somebody. Do you people believe that this morning? I believe it. There is blessing in honoring God. There is blessing in obeying God. There's huge blessing this morning in loving God. There's massive blessing this morning in submitting to God. You know the sad thing about creation, which, by the way, you and I are still paying for right now, the curse of creation? Adam and Eve never recovered from cheating. Do you realize that this morning? The Bible tells me in Genesis that they were locked out of the blessing of God. I find that sad, I find it awful. I find it disturbing that people can be locked out of the blessing of God. They were excluded from everything God had for them. Have you ever been excluded from something? Have you ever been locked out of something good? Imagine going, okay, you can dream now, imagine going to your favorite place, wherever that is. I know what ours is. I don't know what yours is. What's your favorite place ever? The place you dream of, the place that motivates you. It's on the football ground. The place, what's your favorite place? Your favorite thing to do? Imagine going and then being asked to leave. Imagine going in and enjoying, I'll tell you two stories and I'll finish. A few years ago now, I think actually, I looked at a photograph on my phone, and it was 7 years ago. And I can remember this scene vividly. 7 years ago, we went to Disneyland Paris. Yeah, it's our favorite place. Apart from Disney World and Orlando, it's the same thing. We went to Disneyland Paris, our favorite place. And I think there was 4 of us went. And we had these annual passes that you just walk through the gates in Disney. You don't pay, well, obviously you pay at some point. You can't cheat. You can't cheat Mickey and say you gotta pay. So you can't, but you don't have to pay. Just show your card and you go straight in. So walk straight through, show me card, and the little thing says welcome. So walk through. Joy came through, welcome. Grace came through, welcome. Hannah came through, beep, 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 beep. Do you remember? Don't remember. I've got a photograph to prove it. It went beep, 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 and went red flashing lights. And so the woman who was like, the helper came toddling across, and she says, she says, no. She says, you're locked out. So we're in, she's out. So I did what every good dad does. Yeah, waved. Bye, Hannah. Now, Henry. No, I did what every good dad does. I went back, I took a photograph and put it on Instagram. That's what every dad does. And then I went, bye-bye. I took a photograph and it just said, Hannah is not valid. Well, we kind of wondered about that for a few years, but it wouldn't let her in. Favorite place? Like, zippity-doo-dah. Zippity-doo. Favorite place? Locked out. Locked out of something very good. The end of the story is, we eventually got her in. I think she pushed and we pulled and she came in. There was a fault on the machine, but imagine getting excluded from something so good. Church this morning. I don't want to do anything that excludes me from the blessing of God. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything that gets me locked out of what God wants for me. Don't cheat this morning. It's a horrible feeling to be locked out. Second story, and I'm going to finish with this. I've got to include Dan in the story. I've included Hannah. And I mentioned Grace. I'm going to include Dan. Like last year, I think it was, before the football was all finished, or when we started, I can't really remember, but it was last year at some point. to get into the football ground, you've got to go through turnstiles, right? If you've got a bag, right, before you go through the turnstile, this guy checks your bag. So we'd gone all the way from the city centre, it's a long way, isn't it? Over the bridge, right, past the middle of the bridge, right to the gate of the football ground. And so Dan got his bag out, I was on my way. What is it about your kids? Like getting locked out of places? I don't know what it is. They're your kids. And the guy opens the bag and pulls a bottle of juice out and says, you can't, do you remember? You can't take that in. And so like it's either does he drink it there and then on the spot, and he spent a lot of money on this juice, right? Our family don't do waste, right? We wouldn't just leave it. And so we had a dilemma, and Dan says, oh, I'll just go back. I'll just go back. Gets to the gates and has to go back to the car. So I went into the ground and did what every good dad does. I'll enjoy the game. I'll tell you what about it, Dan. But he has to walk all the way back to the car, right? Has to put the juice in the car and then come everybody say all the way back again to the football ground to get in. Imagine getting locked out of something so very good. Don't tell anybody, right? This is like in confidence. Right, there's only 2 people watching on YouTube anyway, so it's between you and I. Now, when we go, right, he still carries the juice. I'll carry it in for him. Contraband. It's true. The secret is, if you wear a suit and jacket, nobody ever challenges you. It's true. Wear a suit jacket for the match, and you can carry in anything. I've told you that in confidence. So don't judge. So now I stick it inside pocket, get through the gates, never get challenged, wear a suit jacket. He still looks guilty, but I'm all right. Hey church, I never want to get locked out, like Adam and Eve did, of something God has for me. I want to live inside the blessing. I want to live inside the promise. I want to live under God's protection, under the covering of God. Is anybody with me this morning? Do you want to live there? I want to live there this morning. Then don't cheat. Give to God whatever is God's. Give to your relationships the honor and honesty they deserve. Give to your employer what is theirs. Your time, your attention, and your honesty. God hates cheating. Come on, let's stand this morning. I hope that helps somebody, challenges somebody, encourages somebody not to spoil something very good. Are you with me? Amen. Have a great week. We shall see you next Sunday. And don't cheat this week. Right? Don't get locked out of anywhere. Have a good week. God bless you.